Hi, everybody. We're here. The mythical, where all of us are here. And I just realized I didn't set out the garden. So you're going to get to watch me set it out if I decide to read from it. How's everybody doing? Um, I think I've recovered from 9 candles. I don't think I've recovered all the energy shifts, however. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about today. And I'm going to start with that. Um, we got some interesting comments from the people about who's accusing what, but we'll get to that. Anyway, this is the first thing I want to talk about. 2023 is a 7 year. When you add the digits of 20 and 23 up together, they equal 7. And 7, one of the most broadly accepted things, is make way for new because the foundations are crumbling. So you have to analyze, you have to go back, you have to think about everything you're doing in order to know what you're really doing. And now is kind of a good time to assess where we are, because one of the things I've learned from hanging around with numerologists, since I'm not one, um, we have in numerology the year starts on January 1st. We went to 2023, and we will be in a 7 year until December 31st of 2023. But there's times that it feels stronger, and especially the beginning of the year, you feel that shift, that change of energy. Well, 2024 will be an 8 year, which is kind of more of a money and power year. But let's kind of review where we are with the 7 before we talk about the 8. Uh, in numerology, at least the way it's been explained to me, some of them, they believe that we're going to still be doing sort of 7 year stuff into September. In October, November, and December, that's what they call the shoulder time. That's the time when the 7 is beginning to fade away, and you're going to feel influences of the 8, which is money and power and achievement. And so we're about to go into that transition period. And when I ran across some of my notes I'd taken on talking about a 7 year before, I decided it was well worth talking about, because as we let all these things go, as things start passing away and moving away from us, and a lot of people have had a lot of loss this year, um, pets, friends, family, uh, siblings, spouses. I've seen a lot of it in the chat, and you can see it. You can see the foundations crumbling within our own government. We're dealing with problems we never thought we'd see. Um, yes, and Lori Hunsinger said this is true. Um, Ann Perry's who I talk about when I talk about my numerologist friend, and she is the one. She's really good. If you go listen to her things, she also has a really incredibly strong library of old tapes, and they're really informative to people who want to do things. I also belong to her little master class thing, and it's really interesting. Um, and anyway, but where I want to go with this is, um, you know, people are questioning what is justice. We have a foundation that we think is justice. Other people are out there saying other things are justice. Justice things feel like they're in a very uneven footing. But that is a time for us to realize there's two sets of energies in the world. There's the world's energy and those vibrations that are coming in with the 7 year, running, bumping into our own personal centered energy. And we need to figure out how we can deal with it. And of course, the one thing everybody says is meditate, but I've been watching some interesting um, videos, and one guy was talking about greater consciousness and how it's fine for us to all say, well, I'm going to go home and I'm going to sit in my chair and I'm going to do my meditation. And that's my whole obligation to the world. Well, it's better to meditate than to not meditate. But you have to understand there's a bigger, broader world out there. And there's two states of consciousness, the one that we carry within ourselves, and then there's the universal consciousness. And we shouldn't go so inward that we can't understand how to fit in the outward world. And it's hard to reach into that outward world when it's kind of a scary, everything's changing sort of place. Um, One of the things that people can do is to go out and be a service to someone. Get out of your own space and your own set of things and see who you can help or what part of your community you can reach out to. Um, Journal, not my favorite thing. I love it when I go back and read the journals. I go, boy, was I ever right about that? Why can't I make myself be more disciplined than this? And I'm like, nah, not going to happen. I mean, I do write things down and keep notes to refer back to, but I don't have a time of the day when I write down my 6 things I need to journal about. I think journals should be. I have a friend who told me a story when she was taking care of an elderly parent who was slipping away into dementia, and she knew where things were going, and their mind was slipping, but their health really wasn't. So it was a very difficult time for her. She said that she she had been journaling her little gratitude things every day, and then she realized that she needed another book. She needed her bitch book where she could write down all the things that were frustrating her and making her angry just to get them out on a piece of paper. So I think sometimes I think that's the problem with journaling is we all want to journal like we're writing it for Facebook. How wonderful our life is and how glorious things are, and instead of, it's Tuesday and I didn't really want to get up, but I got up and I did the things I needed to do, and I have a whole lot of other things to finish and do today. I have a very busy day because tomorrow, and don't get all happed up about this, but we're having a maid come through and like clean out the refrigerator, really clean out the stove, really clean up the kitchen, really kind of help me straighten out all the floors because reaching over and just sweeping some of the stuff up gets to be onerous for me. And so she's going to be here with me. So, but we have to, we have to clean for the maid. But what we have to do is just get the stuff out of the way so she can just do what she wants to uh, for cleaning. But anyway, ask yourself when you're in the midst of feeling kind of low and down, what's the worst that can happen? And then when you kind of look at that, you can kind of minimize your fears. And then um, resist resistance. If you're in the river, don't swim upstream. You're going to get really tired. Learn how to go with the flow and see what's happening. Um, Open the door to new possibilities instead of closing the door and saying, well, I'm just going to stay here because I'm not going to move. I think this is one of the best phrases I've found in the last year. Stop chasing and start receiving. Quit running after all these things and just sit there and say quietly, what can be brought in for me now or for all of us now? And would my life be better if I surrendered to the bigger plan instead of trying to run everything? And remember, I've had jobs that made me run everything. So I kind of consider not having to run everything a joy. But it took years for me to learn how to do that. And another thing is you don't always have to react to life. I read a lot of people and I see a lot of the differences and that their lives have brought to them. And I'm hoping that in reading with them and letting them have a chance to vent it, put it out there and look at it, they can start to make changes. But what I really try to do is collect my own thoughts so that I'm not completely scattered. Stay grounded and just wait till this newer vibration of the 8 starts to move in. If this year's been a scattered year for you, then maybe those are some principles you could take. And we really kind of need to catch our breath. We've had every time I hear the astrologers, they go, well, this is the last really bad month of this stuff. And then I listen to the next month's summary, and it's that and worse. So, I mean, I don't know. I've started doing a couple things for myself. I have begun a fitness regimen, and I'm really paying for it. I have a private coach. They're not a terribly expensive private coach, but they're all set up to run you through a series of things to help you build your body, and especially towards the things I need, which is core strength and balance. And I've gone 3 times, and I'm so proud of myself because I got up. I don't get up in the morning, but it's so friggin' hot here. I have to get there before 9 o'clock. So, like today, the only time that they could do my little regimen, and these people are all of 5 minutes from my house, so it's not a huge drive. But my appointment was 7:20 this morning. I was on a machine, kind of walking and doing some things. They have a machine there that's to build your upper body strength when you're pushing your arms around like that. And for all intents and purposes, it looks like you're stirring a cauldron. I mean, and I kept telling the guy, this is like not probably the position I want people to see me in. Try to fight that off as much as I can. But so that's some of the things I'm doing for myself now to help me ground and get back in touch with my body, which is something I always find kind of an interesting thing. The other thing, I've been looking for positive groups to go and read and look at what their information is. And one of them that I found, it's called Progress Network, and I'll report back to you. And if it ends up being what they say it is, and I kind of like, I know some of the people that are in it, they might not be names you would know, but they've been in politics. But the first couple things I saw were not heavily political. They were just trying to aim your consciousness towards a new way to feel. So that's what I've been up to. And then I also got a really cute little spray bottle. I don't know where I put the bottle it came in, but I put the mist in this because this makes a really good mist. And I bought an energy spray because I just get really tired. I can't stand the smoke because I can't open the house, so I can't really smudge that way. So what I found, and I'm trying, I'll let you know, spray for clearing. It's called Energy Shield. It's Palo Santo with white sage smudge spray. The person who puts it together is some sort of Reiki master and has charged it with black tourmaline and calling in my Archangel Michael's protection. So man, this little bottle doesn't bust any of the things that are wandering into my life right now that I don't want. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to try it. I've had really good luck with essential oils and things like that. The other one I use sometimes is, it's called Dragon's Blood, and you just mix a little bit in water and spray it around, and it kind of helps. You're doing something, and I really can't feel it make a change in the stones, and I've been working a lot with the stones. So that's the next thing I'm going to talk about. I finished and got out 8 grids this week. If I jump up halfway through the show, I'll be gone for like 2 minutes handing the postman. They're supposed to pick some boxes up from me today. But I'm going to show you the grids I've been working on because this is the kind of energy I've had around me. This one is called Alchemy, and it's in the middle there is some yellow aventurine rings with green onyx and pyrite and green aventurine on it, and there's some fire quartz on this. This grid has so much energy, and it's for changing energies. That's what it's supposed to be for. Yeah. This one is called Authority, and it's a really interesting form because it's one of the few grids I built that has so many threes in it, and threes are when you're building your authority and putting your energy out into the world. And the particular lady, when we pulled this card, she kind of laughed because That's where her life was going, where she's going to need that kind of energy. This is consciousness. And this is not just consciousness of what other people are doing, it's also consciousness for ourselves, for our own mind. This one I love. It's called Friendship. And it's got a whole lot of sixes in it. And it's it's got some sodalite in it. It's got, those are red tiger's eye carved um, crescent moons. It's got red aventurine, green aventurine, and a druzy agate, which if you could, you can't really see it, doesn't show up in the picture, but it's got a lot of small little, it's very sparkly in the center. It's a lot of fun. And then this one is healing, and you can tell the stones are a little calmer. They're trying to calm things down. That has, those are red tiger's eye. The big red stones in the middle, right by the rods. I found a selection of rods in different kinds of agates, and there were 6 blue lace agates in there, and that's blue lace agates great for communicating out. And you can see the soothing pinks and things. And also has the cracked quartz that's on the very outer edge that looks like, they kind of look like milky quartz, but they're not. They're actually cracked, and that helps you spread and learn how to deal better with your energy. And then we've got intuition, and I love this particular form. I've made intuitions before, but that's gray lace agate. That's the 3 big stones, primary stones in the middle, and then there's the crescent moons of the blue aventurine to help balance things out. There's the sort of flat looking stones on either side of the crescent moons are kyanite. And kyanite, among other things, you don't ever need to clean it. It never, it doesn't hold on to negative energy, but it helps spread energy out, and it's really good. So that's the other thing I've been doing. And I finally got all those out, and I apologize to people. But it was like I'd get going on it, and then there's the infamous day where I spilled a glass of iced tea on my printer, so I had to take it all apart and dry everything out. And thank God it works. I mean, it's an Epsom. I don't know how they build those machines, but man, they just don't burn out, even when you salt them with your glasses of iced tea, which is stupid of me. I know you shouldn't ever have liquid stuff around your computers, but I want to drink my tea, so I want to drink my tea. Okay, let's get into kind of what the theme of today was, which was about those who do the old Southern proverb of those who do the accusing are usually the ones that are doing the doing. And Audrey liked the proverb. She thought it kind of fit. And right now we're seeing so much accusations and summations and people talking out of their butts, quite honestly, that I think that proverb is very good right now about that. And then I thought this one was perfect. This is not a Southernism, although cat whisperer may be. But I remember middle school saying, the smeller is the feller, meaning the one who pooted is the one who confessed. And I can remember those sorts of grade school things. I also grew up, I was not an only child. I was one of 5. I was the middle child of 5. You can't tell by the color of my hair that I've constantly spent my life trying to attract attention like most middle children do. But I also know that when you live in a family of 5, the one who runs the slowest is the one that gets blamed for the most. So that's another part of what we're talking about there. Now, let's see. We've got questions. And on this, I'm going to roll this in for Roni. Things went sideways at work on Wednesday. Any chance they'll be set right again? So I'm going to go to the table, and you're going to see that I was so busy doing other stuff, I forgot to set my garden up. So it's just the blank old garden. Get the stones out. And I think I've spoken with Roni before about some things around her jobs. There's some flaky things happening around her job anyway, but we're going to see if whatever blew up the other day is going to get changed. Those are the center stones. That's the body, mind, spirit, values or grounding, and clarity. And these four stones just represent north, south, east, and west. And I'm not going to go into all that right now. That's because I'm about to start reading and I'm likely to make a mistake in which one I put where. Okay. And when you get a garden, it doesn't matter where you put these. Actually, the reason I came up with these stones is I really felt like something was missing when I was working with the garden. But the way they really help me is they make the garden feel more grounded, but also they hold the scarf down. Okay. So we're going to go to Roni's. Is the situation in Roni's work going to change for the better? Okay. Well, it's this summer and fall. It's definitely, I think if it's going to get resolved, it's going to get more resolved in the fall than right now. But I think you have your body between earth and air. Changes are coming in your company, and there's some people who are actively fighting that, and they're not staying grounded, so it's making other people feel flaky. And whatever happened between these people probably happened because they fell into that pattern. But your mind is in your heart chakra, and it was a tough thing to go through or to be around, but it's opening people up so they can begin to understand things. And one of the things they're having to understand is where they're getting lied to. Someone was misleading someone. So the blow up wasn't a totally unreasonable thing because someone was really misleading someone. But it's going to open up for the collective to understand better what's going on, because there's been a lot of cloudy visions around your business right now, Roni. And this is sort of the perfect storm to make people decide to clarify. And I can tell you, with your spirit being out in the sacral chakra, that's going to be the truth. But meanwhile, your grounding is in fire, and that means someone's this has been a long time coming. And I think if you see them this fall beginning to deal with these issues, it won't blow over, but things will come back better. They'll really come back better for you. But your spirit's in the sacral chakra, and that's our creativity. And there's going to be some more creative things happening around your work to help resolve this issue. So as much as it's a pain to be around, and I can feel, I really could feel when I read your question, and I can feel it now even more here. It was very hurtful, very heated, but you can get it back. And then we're going to go to the other question that we got. No, that was the only real question that we got, I think. I thought there was one more question. I may have to dive off and look at the funny piece of paper I have. But anyway, I'm going to start going through the comments. And if you want me to look at a question for you, you have to put it in bold. I can go back and try to find them, but if I miss it, I miss it, because there's a lot of you talking today. Yeah, Linda, are you on the coast? Are you going to get some of that lovely cooling off from the hurricanes? What an awful way to have to cool off after bringing a hurricane. Hi. Angela, hi. I'm glad you're here. New Hampshire, and NH Mountain Dancer, I presume you're New Hampshire. uh, a dancer, so you're you're probably cooler than we are. I would hope so. I dreamed that I heard secrets through the cracks about a lot of people and big things. I don't know. We got people sending each other loves and hugs. And somebody liked my lecture. Yay. Crone Zone's here. Love and light to everybody. Yeah, I love Ann Perry's insight. She's really, and she's just as charming and as hyper organized, man. She makes me feel like I can't do anything right. Okay. Not I can't do anything right. It's just, my website could be better. A lot of things could be better. Yeah, she said, if you could lay your problems down on a table like a hand of cards, you'd most likely, if you looked at everybody else's cards, you'd pick up your old hand. I used to have a friend that said if we all had a little invisible cross we carried around, obviously this was a Christian friend, and she said if they put all the crosses in a room and then they could let you see the crosses, that we'd always go back and pick up our own. And I think that was a Christian admitting that we had something to do with creating our life path in our charts. This Sharon Sipes right. If you want to help support the channel, I'm not hurting, but okay. There are videos on how to get up off the floor the MacGyver way. I've done a lot of that. I have my problem, Linda, is I have two artificial knees, and in babying my knees, I screwed up my sense of balance. So it's really a pushing them. And I have a nice young man who's my coach who was an NFL football player. He's not like one of the huge ones. He's like one of the smaller frame ones, one of the guys who had to run a lot. Very, very nice young man. And he also screwed his knees up playing in the NFL, so he and I swapped knee stories. And we have other people doing this. So, yes, it's, you know, when you go in, they have you fill out this little application, and they were like, why have you not done a more formal exercise program in the past? Or why haven't you dived into doing that? And I just wrote my one word answer to that was laziness. I have several lovely yoga couch chair yoga programs, not several, I have two or three in my phone that because of how my technical child has set the house up, I can project anything I see on my phone. I can put it on the TV and watch it there. And I could do that, but I don't. And I mean, I know myself well enough to know that I'm far more likely to get up at 6:30 in the morning and go trotting off and doing a 30-minute rep on different machines and trying things than otherwise. I'm still learning, and he's still figuring out the parameters of where my energy is. But anyway, okay. Okay, here's another suggestion. And y'all can suggest anything you found that works. I think in late summer and September, we all kind of get back on the, I'm going to go do it now. And I think this has to do with going from, if you did finish all 12 grades, going from grade 1 to 12. And our new year really was September when you started a new grade, a new thing. That seems to be a pattern I find in myself. And he goes, hers is perfect timing, a perfect message. I'm reading The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. Yeah, I've seen him speak. He's really good. Taking a deep dive into it, finally trying to tie up my previous metaphysical studies together. That's the other thing I'm seeing is more and more readers are bringing all the different skill sets they have together and trying to understand them one to the other. And They're all so connected that you begin to understand the universality of it. Oh, the spray. This, I'll put the name of the spray up again. Someone wants the spray's name again. That's the spray. Um, and I found it on the internet somewhere, and I read about it, and I love Palo Santo. And I, quite honestly, you just see some of the stones I have behind me. I also have a whole cabinet full of stones that I have to keep up and happy and sparkling, and because otherwise I couldn't build the grids with them. Um, so that's why I went looking for a spray that I could find and do that with. I hope you got that. It's Energy Shield Palo Santo White Sage Smudge Spray. And if you go to Energy Shield, I think that'll do it for you. And got a question. How's your next month going to go? Okay. I'll roll it in the garden because Vicky's one of my gardeners and she can kind of read the garden too. And your clarity jumped out, so we're just going to leave it off the board, girl. You got no clarity for the next month. Your your spirit landed right in the middle of the north, south, east, and west, or fire, water, air, and earth. And when it's in this position, your spirit says you're going through a lot of transformation. Your spirit's transforming your thinking. You've had thoughts from the past that have clouded things for you. It's not yet finished going through the changes. Oh, and I'm saying like you can follow what I'm looking at, and you can't because someday I'll have a setup where they just think it and it'll move. Okay, when I rolled it, your clarity rolled out, so we're not going to read your clarity, but we're going to start with your spirit because it's right in the middle, and it's your thinking's being transformed right now. Thoughts from the past have been clouding how you've been moving forward. Your spirit's definitely transforming and not yet done yet, but you're really close because when the spirit ends up totally in water, it means that your spirit's transmute. It's gone through that transmutation that we occasionally need to go through as we're rearranging ourselves. Now your grounding stone ended up in a really interesting place. It ended up in water, which means grounding patterns are now grounding changes are setting themselves into long-term patterns. You also landed up true. You're seeing clearly what's going on around you. So you understand the shift's happening. And you just nicked the tree of life. And it says to learn the lessons of harmony. That's what's most important with that. But you've got all three of those things at one stone. But I think the one that's most important is the reason things feel so odd is because you're shifting into new long-term patterns. You're not living with the old ones you had before. So that's really important. And then your mind is you're clearing out a lot of leftover stuff because your mind is in fire. And it says you need to not be tied to the false energies of the past, but that your body's trying to move you forward because your body's in restate. One of the things is your options are not clear, and one of the reasons that they're not clear to you is you're beginning to understand the solution may be one you used before, but it's shifting itself. You may have used it before, but it's going to be presenting itself in your life in a whole new way. So that's kind of exciting, girl. And I think your next month's going to be fun for you. And let's see where we are. Okay. 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 I'm going to have to go. I jumped from Vicky's question. There it is. Okay. I mean, Yeah, that's really the whole deal. Is it makes me more accountable. I just like to drift in my own little world. And if I decide it's Tuesday and the world sucks and I'm not going to do my exercise, I won't. And this is, yeah, Sherry, I understand Voice from the Swamp, but there are things in Tai Chi and Qigong, which you're talking about doing, that can really help you. Um, I'm much more capable and active than I was after I had my knees replaced because I really fought doing that surgery for so long, which was just, that was a silly ego problem that I had in my youth back in my early 60s. And I really just didn't want to do it. And I really didn't realize how badly I was hurting myself. So I'm just trying to be responsible about this and move forward. And I'm so interested in where things are going to take. Um, what it's going to take to get from here to there. And I'm so interested in, I think some of the things are changing. Let's see. Michelle would like a reading, please. Okay. Do general garden reading for Michelle's next 3 months. And this thing does do time. So that's winter, spring, summer, fall. So if we see something fun and exciting is coming in, we may be even able to see what season and month it's going to hit. Yep, you got a lot of stuff happening in the winter, but it's you're laying the foundations for it right now. Um, your spirit is in earth. You're feeling you're getting this is I think this is part of a 7 year. You can feel that your spirit's transforming, but it's not quite finished. But you also have in the earth, and the earth is where new and I did it again. I did that like you can see what's on the table. This is not good. People are going to say she needs to exercise her brain more than her body. Okay, this is your spirit, and it's saying that it's transforming, it's not finished. No, when things are in the earth is where energy grows up from. The fire is where energy is tested in this life or in a past life. The water is the energy that washes things away and helps things move on in our life. And the air is where thoughts take over and energy can move quickly. And you have your grounding between earth and air. More is going to be brought forward. So something's going on around you right now. That's why you have this inkling of, oops, I ought to move on. And your air is telling you mental actions, things that you can envision and bring in and make real into yourself. Those are going to be your guiding lights for the next little bit. This fall is going to be full of um, you're going to be letting go of a lot of false energy that you were tied to in the past. And it's great because your body's in the root chakra. And you're connecting the security and the changes you're going through. You want to see them in a physical form. You just don't want to see airy fairy. I think it might be you want to see ways you can physically prove it into your world. And your body is also in go for it, which is one of my favorite spots for things. And movement at this time, this fall, all the stuff that's going on here, it's gonna be really easy for you. You're gonna just know what's right. And your clarity is in water and true. And it says that by this late in the fall and early winter, you're gonna have all the clarity you need. You're gonna know exactly how to move on. A lot of questions you've had are going to be answered for you because your ideas are very correct. So it's going to be, you've got a wonderful um, month, 3 months coming up. Let's see. Hi, Tammy. Oh, Oh, I didn't. Oh, okay. My sister got me an early Christmas gift, which was your garden grid. I haven't had a chance to use it yet. Oh, I think she means the garden that you can throw stones with. Um, Bring it with you and try it. And if you can contact me if you own a garden grid, I give you one free shot at my Saturday teaching class. So because if I didn't have that group, I'm not sure I know how to read it, and I supposedly invented it. I channeled it in, is what I did. Tammy, I feel a whole lot of changes coming soon for me and my family. What do you see? Okay. I'm going to do this right this time. I'm going to have it on the table. What? Seeing changes for Tammy and her family. Ooh. Well, you got your grounding stone and the crown, which is enlightenment. So we're going to start because it's the furthest one out. But you got a lot of stuff happening this fall. Um, you're going to be this literally means you're going to be able to connect a lot of energies in this next cycle. So things are really looking up that way. Now your mind is between path forward and false. Your mind is open and you're watching for signs. And you need to listen to the signals as you get them in your body. It's not always going to be rational. You might run into something and it looks good, but some part of you, if your body self says stay away from it, watch out for that, because you're going into a series with a lot of changes, and your spirit is here between earth and fire, and it's your spirit's transforming and it's not yet finished. And well, I know you have some kind of conflicted things occasionally with your family, Tam. Don't let those stand in the way, because you're fighting to get the clarity. Use things you've done in the past to help move you forward. And your body is right between water. It's actually much more in water, barely in fire. I'll read it in fire. You need to deal with things from your past, but the big breakthrough for you is going to come from grounding yourself, because you've got all this great energy. We're going to be able to put all the little pieces together. They're going to finally come together. So I think it's going to be great. I think whatever journey y'all are on, it's a good one. Okay, we're going to see who else has a question. Hi, oil painter. Okay. Okay. To a new person, Cheryl. I don't think I've ever read on Cheryl, so we're gonna. Oh, you got a really interesting spread, man. You've got your mind in the root chakra. You've got some basic elements in the basic parts of life that you're working with, but you also got your uh, spirit in crown enlightenment. So we're going to start with what you got in the outer chakras. Um, Creativity is the key to your security coming up, and um, the crown spirit's going to just harmonize all of your efforts. Your guides and your angels are really working with you. Now let's see if we can figure out what part they're mostly working on. And your clarity is in earth, that's right here. And you have many paths ahead of you, but you'll always be able to pick the correct one. So don't be like, oh my God, so many things are coming at me at once. just focus in. And it's really, you'll focus in and you'll kind of just gut level know what one to go with. Your energy is totally in air. It's right on the edge going into other ones, but it didn't get there. And mental actions are the path for your abundance. And then where's your body in all this? And your body's in water. You need a lot of help from the grounding elements, but this stone, this is help from the grounding elements, and this is ground your thoughts. So you've got the energy out in the chakras to really strike a new balance for yourself. So I think you need to, if you're listening to them, they're leading you in the right direction, and you've got a lot of exciting things coming up. Okay, mountain dancer. Oh, I've got time, so I'm going to stay on for an hour. Like I said, I got up at 6:30 this morning to go work out. I haven't done anything like that. I literally since I was in high school, which was in the late 60s. So give you some idea of how highly I think of exercising early in the morning. But that's not your problem. We're going to focus on New Hampshire Mountain Dancer. We're going to do a general reading for her with the garden. Ooh, kind of fun. Oh, your spirit is really focusing right now in the present. You're going through a bunch of spiritual changes right now, and that's what's lighting up your fire. Your clarity is in your solar plexus. You're coming to terms with, you have one or two different ways you can express the power you want to express, and then you can move forward. And you're not quite there yet, but really listen to your instincts because they're so on the mark. And then your clarity is in, yeah, this is part of it. This says your dilemma is not well defined, but you have all the clarity you really can if you focus down on it. Because with your spirit being in present, that's really, really strong for you. Your mind is in fire, so you're obsessing on false things from the past. You need to let that go, let that energy go. It happened, but it's done. And your body, even though it doesn't look like it, it landed totally in the water. And you're another person that needs to get out and go walk. Well, you live in a great place to go walking. And you said you're going to the coast. Go to the coast, look at the sea. You're finding all your answers. This is a really positive reading. Prince Charming's mom, I think that's your grid. That's consciousness that's on its way to you. I think the person who I put together, because I get people's real names to put on the grids because I can't use all the chat names. I'd go nuts. I have enough trouble remembering just regular names. That's your grid. It's on the way. Somebody asked about a carnivore diet. Okay. Do you want me I can throw some cards on a diet. I think I do keto, and I've lost over 100 pounds on keto. And then I sort of stopped when the cortisol kicked in from the stress of running a channel on YouTube. But I'm starting to get a hold of that, and let's see if the carnivore diet is correct for you. I thought I was going to read cards for you with that deck, and then I managed to splash it all over the floor. Hold for 1 second. While I'm looking at my floor, we're going to clean up my whole office, and I'm going to sweep up the floor. And every time I do that, I end up with a small bag of stones, and I'm thinking about just giving that away to someone. I'll let you know next week when I see what they are, but they're usually stones like this, and like that moon was on the floor. I like, since I don't know why they're fleeing from me putting them on a grid, but I'll give them to you and you can bless them and you can figure out what to do with them. I hate for their little, they've been working millions of years to get here with us. I hate to just throw them away. Okay. We're going to do, if Patty Sylvan Butterfly is, if her diet is the correct one. Let's see. Yeah, it is. It really is. There are times it fits with how you see the world and how you want to feed yourself. Um, you have a little problem with it, I think, in fitting it with other people that are around you. But for you, the chemistry of it's very good, and it's going to bring you more health. And you don't need to move on to other people's suggestions. You've got it down. This is definitely a yes on your diet. And whoever's doing carnivore, I'm not at all opposed to carnivore. I think it can really help a lot of people. I think anything that keeps them away from sugar can help people. Let's see. Oh, Michelle. Okay, good. I'm glad that was meaningful for you, and I hope you could relate to it. And I hope it comes out that brilliantly because it's brilliant. Okay, how do I see diet as related to spiritual evolution? Okay, I know one reader that I just admire the crap out of, and I think she's a real sweetie pie. She just, at like 13, said, I can't eat another animal. She's been a vegetarian ever since. I can't do vegetarian diets. I've tried to do it, and there's just something about my body chemistry and how vegetarian diets work that I gain weight. Um, so, vegan, vegan diets. I think there's some truth to the fact that if you don't eat flesh, now I know animal flesh. I know a couple people who work with ETs that were told to not eat animals, that it was disrespectful. And it may be, but I can't make it without having animal fats and that in my diet. And I've and I'm a very good cook and I can make pretty much anything. And there's some marvelous vegan restaurants in Dallas. But you know, I think that's between you, your guides, and your God or your source. I'm happily floating around eating meat, and I do it. Next 3 months for Emerald Star. You're working on some very basic issues because you didn't have too much hit in the outer ring. We're going to start with your mind being in air and how you think is all important to how your things are going to go, Emerald Star. You need to get your thoughts clear, and we're going to figure out from in here what you need to do to get them clear. Your body is between earth, air, and water. You have some strong physical changes coming towards you besides what's going on in your head. I don't know if, but you need to not watch out for it. It just says if you stay grounded, that these changes will just kind of roll in through your body, and that will help you. And your clarity, clarity's coming out of things you've used in the past to solve solutions, and you actually have all the clarity you need when you're not dealing with those solutions. You already know the information. You're ready to move forward. And this is the water. This is where your energies are being carried. And part of the reason that you're going through what you're going through right now is because your transmutation is complete. You've gone through a lot of changes. And the next 3 months is going to make it completely clarified for you. You've got spirit and true. Spirit can move forward in harmony with your plans. And you also have your grounding stone and true for the most part. You're seeing things very, very clearly. And you got the same one I read earlier for someone. The way your life's patterning itself right now, that's going to become long-term changes. So you're not going to go backwards to things that didn't function as well. And it's because you've learned your past life lessons and you're bringing them forward and making them into something that's useful for you. Okay. Oh, is this a question? Um, I can throw cards on that. Imagine if your guides are anything like Addie or Frank, they'd let me know. But let's see. I'm going to say is your dietary choice blocking you from the spiritual development you want? Because I don't know if you've heard the story of how I found my guide, but I went to a Brian Weiss lecture one Sunday, and he mass hypnotized us 5 times. And one of the times he hypnotized us, and I was 69 at the time, it was to meet our guides. And I knew I had them, but I didn't make a big whoop deal about it. I figured if they're there, and they're fine. Because in the 70s, when I worked at a lot of psychic fairs, everybody had Indian princesses and pharaohs and all this stuff for their guides, and it seemed like a lot of hoopla for nothing. And everything seemed to work for me just fine without it. And he put me in a trance, and I ended up standing next to my guide Addie, meeting her. And my first thing I said to her was, well, I said, hi, I'm Nancy Jean. She said, yes, I know. And I said, well, who are you? And she said, I'm Addie. And I said, are you my guide? She said, yes. And I immediately apologized for having basically kind of ignored her for 69 years. And she said, it's okay, honey. You did everything I told you to do. So, I mean, okay. Is it blocking you? No. Okay. Being a carnivore is not really blocking you. You just need to quit worrying about it. And I think you went to that diet because you needed to do that to keep you together. But you just need to talk it out with them. But they are around you and they will listen as long as you're not convincing yourself that eating meat's keeping them away. And then we go to this one. Okay, we're going to do a quick reading on Christina. I'm not going to do any more readings. I don't know how many left of you are down here. Okay. I'm going to mark the ones I can find, and I'll read those out because I really did not want to go longer than an hour. But we're going to go longer than an hour, just to let you know. Okay. Let me see if I find anybody else. Nope, I only have one more after this. So that's easy. Okay, reading for the end of the year for Christine. Oh, you're making me work for a living. When the stones fall over lines, this one's in this, and this space. There are 4 different spaces. I have to read all 4 of them and put together what the message is. But that's not a bad deal. It's, oh, you're very intuitive, and your intuition and insights are helping you right now. And you're opening up. I think you're starting to talk to people. By the end of this year, you're going to be talking to people about more things than you had thought you needed to say. And you're going to feel free to talk to them about things that you might not be like today, ready to. But your values are definitely, your signs and clues. You understand you're going through a great big dynamic change inside yourself. And those 3 spots tell me that you didn't get up and path forward. You just didn't make it. But your energy, uh, grounding, the pyrite, is, and your values are being purified right now. You're putting your flag in place, and you're saying, this is where I want to be. And your values are also in air. What you're going through mentally now is your path to abundance. So this opening up of your intuitive eyes, trusting your own instincts, speaking from that, speaking, you're getting a heart coherence between your mind and your heart that's making it easy to express yourself. Your clarity is in go for it. And that literally means move now on your intuitions. So you've got a wonderful, you're opening up like a flower, and but you're not comfortable with some of it. I can tell because your body's down here and your spirit's down here. Your body and earth says that some physical changes are coming. Some things are going to shift around you that are going to make this even more obvious. And your spirit's also on earth. And it's transforming right now. It's not yet finished, but you will be finished by winter. You will be, all this stuff that's just you're starting to feel. Um, by the year's end, you're going to be in a totally different space, Christine. So whatever you're doing it right. Just keep working at it. Yay, another keto story. I went and lost 20 pounds. Good for you, Vicki, because I know you were having some health problems too. It probably helped with that. Yeah, if you eat healthy, guys, you get calmer. The sugar makes us nuts. And this is the last question. Do do the stones have a message for Dina? In case you haven't gathered, the garden's a very introspective place. So it's going to tell you kind of what's going on inside of you. Oh, you won the lottery, girl. Your spirit's in your root chakra and in go for it. So when it's in spirits there, uh, it says connection with your spirit is needed in in this whole situation. So we're going to think about it from a spiritual perspective. And you also got spirit and go for it. And your spirit's very much aligned with your ideas. The problem is your mind gets a little foggy about it. This is, you need to think right now and rethink right now, because something's coming forward that's going to be really inspiring for you at the end. And your body is at fire, so you're trying to get control of that. There's some things coming out of your past that you're going to, if you can let them go through you this time, you can be kind of rid of them. I don't feel, I'm not going to say what it is. I was going to say, I don't feel like it's a major trauma, but I'm going to tell you that what I think, I wasn't there. So you just need to work out whatever it is that keeps popping up from the past and work on it. And it's like I said, 7 is the year that we break up our foundations and find new places to plant ourselves. So that may be what you're going through. Your clarity is in the earth. You don't really have, you don't know the whole story, so you can't build a path, but there's a new one coming to you that will be absolutely perfect for you. And you also, yeah, this one also means more will be brought forward. So my message to you is, you got it, girl. I mean, when you can really connect to your spirit, something from the past is kind of somewhat blocking you. As soon as you can let that go and say, no, you're not going to run me anymore, I'm going to do it the way I need to do it, you're going to be able to move forward and have no problems getting getting ahead. Okay. And eat right for your blood type. I've also had some people tell me that's very helpful. I don't know. I've never done it. And New Hampshire mountain dancers wants to keep eating what she's eating, so that's fine. Okay. Oh, yeah, alpha. If you're type 2 diabetic, the doctor who I go to, and that I was going to, she just recently retired, but she had literally cured, gotten people where they were not insulin dependent anymore, that were type 2 diabetics. Now, if you're type 1 diabetic, you got to use the insulin. But type 2 diabetics, a lot of it is, um, you just have to buckle down and not create the glucose. And if you can get a glucose monitor, one of the continuous monitors, that's very, very helpful in getting people off that. But my doctor uh, really advised, she's gotten a lot of people off that. So with that, I am going to change back into me and say goodbye. And thank you all for coming and visiting today. And we managed to hold on to most of you. Once you get past an hour, though, I don't blame people for going away. And I just really want to thank you all for coming and supporting the channel. And I know I will be on with Scott on Sunday, which is when I talk politics. And this one's going to be kind of interesting because at the end of last week's show with Scott, I mentioned that there's a talk of a lawsuit against the former president because he says he's running a campaign, but he doesn't have the things that tell you that there's a campaign there. And people said, are there things that are legally required or should you be looking for? So I went back and talked to one of my old buddies that works still in politics, and he found the org chart he and I used to use to explain to people what it takes to have a campaign. And we're going to go through some of the mechanics of campaigning right now, and how, if you want to be able to make a change in 2024, what you can do if you want to. Um, I don't, and I will, y'all can leave if you really don't want to hear this part, but Guatemala just had a presidential election, and the guy who won is a reformer, and he was running against a bunch of the old corrupt cronies of the ex-president, including the ex-president's. The ex-president's now dead, but his widow, and it was this guy and the widow that were in the final race, and he had like no big cash, no big money. He just had people on the streets talking about what he wanted to do. Uh, Eliza, I'll have to do you another time because I've kind of closed out the readings. But what he had the hearts of the people, and people began to understand this. And so we can do it in Guatemala. I mean, people say, oh, all big money owns all this and stuff. No, it doesn't. If the people really get out and work, the people can get what they want. And it's viewed internationally as a huge win for the non-authoritarians. So, and at that, I will leave you because I don't want to sit here and lecture you like an authoritarian. Y'all have a good day. And I will, Eliza, I'll be back next Tuesday, and I may actually go up on Thursday this week because I don't have any readings and I will have done all the other stuff I do, and I do get bored. So I will maybe pop on, but I'll let you know the night before. So watch for my notices. And thanks everyone for being here. Bye.